Bottom of the hour, we're back on Get Up. Huge game 3 tonight in Philadelphia. Knicks and 76ers. All eyes will be on Joel Embiid, who missed game 2 with hip and ankle, and frankly, it looks like absolutely everything injuries. Officially, he's listed as questionable for tonight. Philly 1-3 in these playoffs without him. The Knicks dealing with their own injury concern. OG Anunoby questionable with a hamstring that he suffered late in game 2. He's been arguably their best player in these playoffs, averaging 21 points on 62% shooting. In a must-win in Philly, DraftKings Sportsbook has the Sixers a slight favorite tonight, -1.5. Sixers have actually lost their last 6 home games against the Knicks. That dates back to their playoff series of a couple of years ago. We'll get Fortenbaugh's thoughts on that in just a minute, but let me start with you as I go Goodwill hunting. Which injury do you think bodes larger in tonight's game? Embiid for the Sixers or Anunoby for the Knicks?
I'm going to say OG Anunoby because I think he is that critical as far as a glue to what the New York Knicks do. Offensively, when you look at the way that they've been playing on the past 4 games, Karl Towns as a hub, who's been a beneficiary of that? OG Anunoby on cuts. That's why you've been seeing him shoot so well. He defends, he's tough, he shoots, he makes it all work. I don't know what Joel Embiid is going to look like if he comes back tonight. They could very well win without him tonight. I don't know if the Knicks can win the Eastern Conference. Matter of fact, they're not going to win the Eastern Conference without OG Anunoby.
Well, which brings us, before we get to the thoughts about Embiid, let me go back to Anunoby. Because, Tim, you and I are very much of one mind as far as the status of OG Anunoby and the way this injury is being described and what we're looking at here in the next 36 hours.
I mean, the guy strained his hamstring a couple nights ago and he's questionable. I don't know who they're trying to fool. There's no way OG Anunoby can play tonight. I mean, it's ludicrous. We saw Aaron Gordon play last year on a strained hammy. It was a game 7. He didn't play well. We saw Anunoby a couple years ago come back after missing 4 games and try to go on a strained hamstring. He dragged his leg around for 5 minutes, got absolutely torched. He can't play. The hope is he can be back maybe at some point later this series, maybe next series, because I do agree with Vince. They need OG Anunoby, and they need him at his best to get to the finals. If you play him tonight, you're risking losing him for the rest of the postseason.
I mean, I'll make it as direct as I can. I'm watching this game tonight on my couch, and OG Anunoby should be sitting right next to me. OG, you're welcome. I will cater. I'll bring anything you want to eat, to drink, whatever it is. He should not be in Philadelphia. He shouldn't be allowed within the city limits. The Knicks have a 2-0 lead. That's why you build a 2-0 lead, so you don't have to send your arguably your best player out there with an injury that everyone re-aggravates. I mean, a hamstring injury might as well just have, in parentheses, re-aggravation next to it. It always happens. They have 2 games in 36 hours. Mm-hmm. The absolute worst-case scenario is they come home 2-2 in a series in which they're the better team anyway. There's no way in the world that Anunoby should play, and I can't imagine will play in these 2 games. So that's the Knicks side of it.
Yep.
I'm fascinated by your thoughts on the Sixers side of it.
Styles make fights, right? We hear that all the time. What is the best style for the 76ers to have a chance to beat the New York Knicks? I do not think that style involves heavy doses of Joel Embiid. He is a liability on the floor defensively. Him coming back from injuries, you saw the way they attacked it with ball rotation and driving him and attacking him. And when you watch the way they played the other day, fast and speed with Barlow and with Bona, interchangeable parts. Paul George is fighting against Karl Anthony Towns. Those are the matchups that I think best suit the 76ers have a chance to beat the New York Knicks.
Okay. Let me get Fortenbaugh in here before we get to any betting. You know the Sixers better than anybody. You're a Philadelphia guy. I walked all around the Garden before game 2, asking everyone I could, do you think the Sixers are better, have a better chance of winning tonight with Embiid? And I couldn't find one person to say yes. What do you think?
I wouldn't use the word better. I would use the word different, which is very obvious. But the style they play without him is, to Jay's point, more conducive to winning. The pace picks up dramatically.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And you saw what that could do against the Knicks in game 2. With Embiid on the floor, defensively, they go into this drop coverage. They're not stopping anything.
So you're parsing words with me. You're telling me
He's
it's not
saying yes.
better, but
He
they have a
agrees.
better chance of winning? How are those different?
I'd say if he does not play tonight, as a Sixer fan, I'm not losing any sleep over that. I'm very excited about the chances of winning.
So here's the argument that comes back in my face. Tim McMahon, I'll give it to you. I was right. This side of the argument was right for 3.5 quarters. And then, because the Sixers are playing at a fast pace and because they don't have any depth at all, those guys who were out there running up and down the floor, it wound up working against them because Maxey and Edgecombe and George and all those guys are dead tired at the end of the game, and that's why they shot 1 for 10 or whatever it was in the fourth quarter from 3. So the running out of gas argument, I think, is the best argument I've heard against it. What are your thoughts on the Sixers with and without Embiid?
I mean, listen, Embiid raises the ceiling for the Sixers. I get the concerns on the defensive end. Karl Anthony Towns can make him swim in waters on the perimeter that are choppy for him, uncomfortable, way too deep at times. But, dude, this team had no chance to get out of the first round until Joel Embiid got back. They're not going to beat the Knicks unless they get a really good version of Joel Embiid.
That's the point, though. Are we going to get a really good version of Joel Embiid with all the injuries that he's had and how they accumulate at this stage?
There's a ways that we can do this. For one, let's appreciate Greeny being on celebrity role at Madison Square Garden for Game 2. That's excellent work. He was right across from Jay-Z. All right,
glad to see you finally caught a break there.
Let's appreciate that. Secondarily, there's a way for you to have Joel Embiid on the floor on your team and not center him, and to still play it fast. And when it's time to slow it down, you can use him there. Because like you said, Greeny, the last 6 minutes, they had no legs. There is a use for Joel Embiid. It does not mean like they did in Game 1, where you just force the ball to him and you forget about everybody else. There's a way for you to split the baby, lack of a better phrase. You don't give them the heavy dose that you center him in your offense, therefore negating all of your actual advantages.
Now we're talking nuances, though, right? The theme of, are they better without Joel Embiid? I don't believe that. I do believe that you have to change up your style, and that's what you're alluding to, right? That's where that style makes this fight different if they implement that.
But it just sort of feels like once Embiid is on the floor, he is the center of everything.
That's true.
It's like he's the sun and everything is orbiting around him, and I understand that because he's the biggest and he's the star and he's the best player. But the reality is, I think if the Sixers are going to have any chance to win, the best player on the floor has to be Tyrese Maxey.
Yes.
And I think he has the capability of being that. And if he can't be it at the end of the game because he's just been worn down by overusage or whatever it is, then they don't have any chance of winning anyway.
I said this 2 days ago. Do we still think you can win with this version of Joel Embiid at this stage of his career as a centerpiece?
You said win what? When you say win, what do you mean by win?
Win a championship.
Well, I mean, still, they've never gotten out of the second round with him. I mean,
as a centerpiece of a team,
right,
at this stage of his career, can you win a championship?
Has the evidence ever stated that you could get past the second round?
So we keep trying to force the same narrative over and over about the best version of him. When's the best version of him going to show up?
Yeah. And even when he has played well, it hasn't been his fault all the time that they've lost.
Nobody's giving him blame on it.
No one with him has ever won anything of consequence, and it doesn't feel like it's headed that way here. What are you looking at for? What's the smart money say about Game 3?
Sixers. I'd lay the 1.5 for the game. The first half line is actually the exact same because the books can smell this coming, so I'd lay that as well. This is the old down 0-2, coming home, crowd pop, role players play better. All that to keep in mind. The Sixers, whether they have Embiid or not, they have plenty of practice and experience playing without him. Anunoby played 67 games this year. The Knicks are going to have to find their way both offensively and defensively if he's unable to go tonight. Also keep in mind, the Knicks are shooting over 50% from the floor in this series. They're shooting well over 40% from three-point range. Those numbers are going to drop. Don't be surprised if Karl Anthony Towns finds himself in foul trouble on the road here.
Again?
Okay.
Again, yeah.
Water is wet. Karl Towns in foul trouble.
That's fair enough. Meanwhile, I want to do a Flashback Friday because today